You know, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, but how often do we actually pause, take a step back and really look at where we are and, more importantly, where we want to go? So today we're diving deep into this topic, and it's a topic that is thrown around so much but not always fully understood, and that's the topic of self-reflection. You know, when we take a moment to tune in with ourselves, to understand your thoughts, emotions and your behaviours, and to align them with your true purpose. Now, we've all heard it, take time to reflect. Self-reflection is the key to growth. But what does it actually mean to reflect? And why do so many of us struggle with it? Welcome back to my channel, your place for all things about personal growth, empowerment, and creating a life that you love living. Now, here's the thing. Self-reflection is one of the most powerful tools for personal transformation, but it's also one of the most misunderstood and often underutilized. You see, we often treat it like a quick end of the day recap, what went well, what didn't, but real self-reflection goes much, much deeper than that. In this video, I'm going to unpack what real self-reflection is, why it's so important, and why many of us find it challenging. Plus, I'll also be sharing powerful tips on how to master self-reflection, along with a bonus tip at the end that will truly shift how you approach this practice. So to be sure to stay around so you catch the bonus one. And just so you know, these are not your typical write it in a journal tips, though that's a great tool too, but rather unique approaches that will take your self-awareness and personal growth to the next level. So by the end of this video, you won't just understand this concept of self-reflection, you'll have practical tools to start using to truly create the life that you love. We need to talk about why self-reflection is such a buzzword and how that's affecting the way we engage with it. The term self-reflection is thrown around so often that it can feel almost meaningless. It's become one of those phrases that we hear in wellness articles, the personal development space, social media, even in conversations at work. And whilst it sounds insightful, it is a rarely explained in-depth concept. So we hear advice like take time to reflect or reflect on your day. But what does this really mean, and how many of us are truly practicing it meaningfully? Now, more often than not, when people say they're reflecting, they're doing what's known as a surface level review. Maybe they think about a situation, what went wrong or right, and move on. But here's the issue, that's not real self-reflection. That's just a mental checklist almost. So what does true self-reflection actually look like? It's important for us to understand that self-reflection isn't just about replaying the events of your day in your head. It's not about judging yourself or over-analysing every single decision. At its core, self-reflection is about gaining insight into your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviours. And most importantly, your deeper beliefs, those that almost run on autopilot. You see, self-reflection means stepping back and observing yourself without judgment. Think of it as watching yourself from a third person's perspective. You're not just thinking about what you did, but why you did it. What thoughts or beliefs drove your actions? What emotions came up for you? What patterns are emerging in your life that you haven't noticed before? And here's the thing, true self-reflection isn't just about looking back. It's also about looking forward. It's about using the insights you gain to make better choices in the future. It's about understanding where you are now and where you want to be and how you can bridge that gap. Many of us spend our days reacting to life without ever pausing to ask ourselves why we're making the choices we make. Self-reflection helps you break that cycle. It helps you become more and more intentional, more self-aware, and more aligned with the life that you want to create. So why is this so crucial? Without true self-reflection, you risk operating almost on autopilot, reacting to life rather than actively engaging with it. You might find yourself stuck in patterns that don't serve your growth or pursuing goals that aren't truly yours. Understanding self-reflection as a process of deep exploration rather than a mere activity is key to making meaningful changes in your life. Self-reflection should be seen as a practice, a journey into understanding yourself better, not just a one-time exercise. You see, when approached with intention, it helps you uncover patterns, recognise areas for growth, and align your daily actions with your long-term vision. To truly grasp self-reflection, think of it as a conversation with yourself. It's not just about asking, what did I do today? But delving into questions like, why did I react this way? Or what does this behaviour say about my underlying beliefs? It's about almost probing beneath the surface to understand your motivations and how they shape your actions. Without that level of introspection, you might think you're growing, but really you're just going round in circles. That's why we're diving into this subject today. And let's be real, in a world that moves fast and demands constant attention, creating that space to reflect isn't always easy, but trust me, it is so worth it. So now that we've clarified what self-reflection truly involves, let's delve into why it's such a powerful tool for personal growth. So think of self-reflection as your internal compass. It helps you navigate through life with greater clarity and purpose. When you regularly engage in reflection, you gain a deeper understanding of yourself, which is crucial for making informed decisions and setting meaningful goals. Take Sarah, for example, a busy entrepreneur who always felt overwhelmed. She was working hard, but never seemed to make real progress. Through regular self-reflection, Sarah identified that she was pursuing goals that weren't truly aligned with her passions. By aligning her goals with her core values, she transformed her career and personal life, feeling much more fulfilled and less stressed. You see, self-reflection helps you tune into your truest desires and needs. It allows you to reassess your priorities and make adjustments that bring you closer to your ideal life. Without it, you might find yourself chasing after what others expect of you rather than what you truly want. Consider self-reflection as a way to almost reset your internal compass. Just as you might recalibrate a GPS when it's off track, self-reflection helps you realign with your own core values and aspirations. It's not just about acknowledging what's happened, but actively using those insights to shape your own future. Now, before we dive into the tips for mastering self-reflection, let's address something important. Why can self-reflection be so hard? You see, if self-reflection is so beneficial, why don't more people do it consistently? And when they do, why do they often struggle to go deep? There are a few reasons for this. The first is that self-reflection requires vulnerability. Real reflection means looking at parts of ourselves that we might not like, your mistakes, your fears, your limiting beliefs. That can be uncomfortable, even painful. Often it's easier to avoid these thoughts than to confront them head on. And secondly, we live in a world that values action over contemplation. We're conditioned to believe that doing is more important than thinking. Society rewards busyness, productivity, and forward momentum, while introspection often seen as a luxury or even laziness. But the truth is, reflection is what allows us to act more intentionally. It's what helps us grow. You see, without it, we're just moving through life on autopilot. And thirdly, there's the fear of what we might uncover. Sometimes we avoid self-reflection because we are actually afraid of the insights that we might gain. What if we realise that we're not happy in our jobs or our relationships? What if we discover that we've been holding ourselves back with our limiting beliefs? It can be scary to face those truths, but it's the only way to create real change. And finally, we're often too distracted. Life is busy. We've got work, we've got family, friends, social media, and endless to-do lists pulling us in all different directions. Carving out time to sit quietly with our thoughts can feel impossible. And when we do find the time, we're so used to multitasking that our minds are jumping from one thing to the next, making it really hard to focus on true self-reflection. So yes, self-reflection can be hard, but it is also very worth it. And the good news is there are ways to make it easier and much more effective. So let's talk about how, by getting into the practical side of things, we can make it work. So how can you start mastering the art of self-reflection? Tip number 1 is simple but very, very powerful. Schedule in your reflection time. You see, if you don't schedule it, it's not going to happen. As I mentioned, life gets busy. We have a million things vying for our attention. Every single day there's things going on, and if we don't make reflection a priority, it will fall by the wayside. So make an appointment with yourself. Pick a time each day or each week and block it off in your calendar. It doesn't have to be a long time. Even just 10 or 15 minutes can make a huge difference. Consistency is key. So whether you choose daily, weekly or monthly intervals, find a rhythm that works for you and stick with it. By making reflection a regular part of your routine, you ensure that it becomes a natural and beneficial practice. And when something is natural, it's easier to sustain. During this time, remove distractions, turn off your phone, close off your laptop, and allow yourself to focus solely on your thoughts and feelings. This is your sacred space to reflect, so treat it like the important activity that it really is. So now that you've set time aside to reflect, the second tip is asking the right questions. The questions you ask yourself during the self-reflection time will determine the depth of your insights. If you're only asking surface level questions like, what went well today, or what could I have done better, you're not going to get to the root of what's really driving your life. So instead, we want to ask deeper questions. And here are a few examples that can get you started. What patterns am I noticing in my behaviours or relationships, for example? Or maybe, what beliefs or fears are holding me back from making the changes I want to make? What emotions keep showing up for me? And what are they trying to teach me or tell me? You see, these questions push you to go beyond the surface and really examine the underlying forces that are shaping your life. When you ask the right questions, you'll uncover new insights that can help you grow in ways that you never thought was possible. So tip number 3 is to use visualization as part of your reflection process. Now, most people think of reflection as looking back, reviewing the past day or week or month. And while that's important, there's another element that can take your self-reflection practice to a whole new level, and that's looking forward. You see, visualization is a powerful tool for personal growth because it helps you to imagine the future the way that you want to create it. So during your reflection time, take a few minutes to visualize your future self, the version of you that has achieved your goals and your dreams and overcome your challenges and ultimately created the life that you would love. What does that person look like? How might they think, feel, or behave? You see, once you have that vision in mind, reflect on how your current actions and beliefs are either moving you toward or away from that future version of yourself. This turns reflection into an active process where you're not just reviewing the past, you're also shaping your future. Now, to make the most of visualization, create a detailed mental image of your goals and dreams. What does your ideal day look like? How do you feel? What are you doing? Who's around you? You see, the more vivid and detailed your visualization, the clearer your path becomes. So use this mental image as a guide during your reflection sessions to stay aligned with your vision, almost taking a snapshot. And then tip number 4 is to embrace self-compassion during self-reflection. You see, self-reflection can be tough because it often brings up areas of our lives where we feel that we've fallen short. It's easy to get caught up in self-criticism when we think about the mistakes that we've made and the opportunities that perhaps we've missed, or the ways we could have acted differently. But remember, the goal of self-reflection isn't to beat yourself up. It's to learn and grow. So when you're reflecting, it's important to approach yourself with kindness and understanding, not self-criticism. So if you find yourself being overly harsh during those reflection times, take a step back and approach yourself with compassion. Ask yourself, how would I support a friend in this situation? Also ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience, rather than what did I mess up with? So remind yourself that self-growth is a process, and every day is an opportunity to do better and better. And reflection is about progress, not perfection. The more self-compassionate you are, the more you'll be able to engage with self-reflection in a way that's truly empowering rather than discouraging. You see, the reality is self-compassion allows you to acknowledge your mistakes without letting them define you. It's about being patient and kind with yourself, understanding that growth takes time. You see, this approach creates a more supportive and encouraging reflection practice. Now, as promised, for those of you who are still here, the bonus tip. This is the one that really takes self-reflection to the next level. What we want to do is pair reflection with action. Self-reflection on its own is incredibly powerful, but it's only half of the equation. The real transformation happens when you take what you've learned from your reflection and use it to create change in your life. After each reflection session, identify 1 or 2 specific actions that you can take based on the insights that you've gained. It could be something small like adjusting the way that you respond to stress, or something bigger like setting a boundary in a relationship, or starting a new habit. The point is to take whatever you've learned and apply it. You see, without action, self-reflection can turn into overthinking, and we definitely don't want that. Remember, the goal of self-reflection is to help you grow, and growth requires action. So ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today that aligns with the insights I've gained from my reflection? And then go do it. You see, self-reflection isn't just a buzzword. It's one of the most powerful tools you have for creating a life that you love. But to truly benefit from it, you need to go beyond surface level thinking and engage in deep, meaningful introspection. You need to ask the right questions and approach yourselves with compassion and take action based on the insights that you gain. So here's my challenge to you. I invite you that after this video, set aside 10 to 15 minutes for reflection, put it in the calendar, and maybe start with the questions that I mentioned today and see what comes up for you. Remember, this process is about growth, not judgment. Be kind to yourself and know that every step you take toward deeper self-awareness is a step toward the life you truly want to live. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who could use a little more reflection in their life. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more tips on personal growth, empowerment, and create the life that you love living. Until next time, remember, you have the power to shape your future, one reflective moment at a time.